I just had the most fascinating off-camera discussion with one of my guests, Alexandra Kallos. We spent an episode discussing her near-death experience, which is really spectacular. It's so in-depth. There's so much detail. And then as we got off and the recording was done, we started chatting and we had this amazing conversation about what she has seen is coming for mankind. It blew my mind. And I think it'll blow yours as well.
In the next 3 years, especially between 25 and 28, like I just shared with you, there's going to be an increase in, let's say, what do you call that? Open contact.
But will there be an event that will convince virtually all, or at least most people, that there are beings visiting us from other planets and dimensions?
In my understanding and what I've been shown, yes, it's going to be undeniable.
This is Beyond with Heather Tesch, where we examine near-death experiences and life itself, hopefully making this life a little better. Hello, everybody. I am here with Alexandra Kallos. Hello, Alexandra.
Hello.
We have just recorded an episode, and we're starting to chat just about beings on other planets or dimensions. And I was mesmerized by some of the things you are saying. So can you share them here so my audience can hear it too?
Yes, I would love to. So through my own experiences, through my channelings, and through certain things also in waking state, I've had interactions with other beings. I've seen craft. I think ever since I was young, I have known. I also kind of knew I came from somewhere else, and I knew that there were other beings. And I think about 12 years ago, through my guides, I was being shown and being fed information that, let's say, interactions between humans and planet Earth and off-planet beings would increase. So let us start by saying that they are already here. This I always have to preface. It's not like we are only earthlings here and we are going to receive these other beings. It's really not quite like that. We have always been a planet that has had many different visitations from different beings, from different star systems. We are a very special planet. We're not the only one. There are many Earth-like planets, but anyway, so there are already beings other than humanoid, than you and me. They're already here. They live in underground bases. They exist also in different forms. Sometimes they're shapeshifters. There are all sorts of beings. They're already here. So that's number one. Then, yes, what I have seen in my channelings and in visions is that in the next 3 years, especially between 25 and 28, like I just shared with you, there's going to be an increase in, let's say, what do you call that? Open contact. And that's not all going to happen all at once, because it would really still scare the average human. So it would create chaos. But what they show me, and I'm not me, I am one of many that has known this and is talking about this. So it will happen through some isolated incidents in different places on the planet. But because America is so important in this whole ascension, a lot of it will take place, obviously, on, around American territory, we could say. So it will start with small sightings. So things like drones, then a little bit bigger craft, then there's going to be some incident where a large group of people are going to have this, first-hand experience with, a craft with beings. And then it's like hundreds of people, and they're all going to say the same thing. And we all saw it, and it was real, and we felt it. And so it's going to be a little bit of everything. And I am shown that at some point, yes, there's going to be, so in the next 3 years, so this is going to happen quite soon, which, as you can see, I'm very excited about.
Me too.
And I know thousands are sharing that excitement. So there's going to be a sort of event that we are all co-creating, as we also spoke about, like nothing happens in a void. We are all actively co-creating that with our thoughts, with our energies, with our hearts, with our projections. And so there is an event that's being co-created where it's going to be like this official close encounter, open contact with a humanoid species, not to scare the humans too much, because there are many other humanoid species, not only in our solar system, but also outside, in the Andromedans and all of them. And we carry a little bit of that DNA anyway, because we humans are very much hybrid species, right? So what is so important is that we are literally meeting with our star family. They are our, they are our ancestors or our future selves, because again, time is not linear. Yeah. So it's going to be incredibly exciting. So they have agreed that it will be a humanoid species, and there's going to be interaction, communication. This will more than likely take place telepathically. Of course, there is also something like light language. I and many others channel different forms of light language, which is a cosmic toning. It's not a linear language, but they are packages of light that are transformed into sound. So they actually come through your heart and then get processed through the brain. So many off-planet species, so star beings, they actually communicate through some form of light language. So it can be that some people, some humans who are able, to be a channel, to be a vessel for this light language, are going to be maybe like translators, intermediaries in that event. And then depending on how that is received, by the collective, a new timeline opens. Are humans collectively going to be sort of open and excited to embrace that part of themselves, to understand that they are cosmic beings, that we are not isolated on this little planet, that they are our star brothers and sisters, that we can sort of step into becoming a galactic being, that we can also align with all of these other civilizations and stuff like that. So I still feel that's a tall order that might take a little bit more time, but I feel that we are in an absolute acceleration, as we spoke also about this bifurcation. So as we came from this sort of this timeline that was sort of one, it was a singular timeline, there was a bifurcation. So now there are two, and some say three, but let's stay with the bifurcation. So there is a split in the timelines. And of course, the birth of AI and the evolution of technology is going to play into this. But the whole sort of interaction going into, growing into our galactic beingness, that's going to be on this side, on the, the timeline that has chosen to be the sovereign, ensouled, divine, organic timeline. And we're just going to sort of expand, in our consciousness and understanding that we are fully cosmic beings. So, yeah.
Will this be obvious around the world right now people will say they saw something, but you hear things word of mouth. You said, there will be an event with hundreds of people, but will there be an event that will convince virtually all, or at least most people, that there are beings visiting us from other planets and dimensions?
So my guidance on that is yes. So I guess closer towards the year 2028, because it needs all this sort of, this preemptive preparation. Yeah. Not to scare everyone, because many people are still very much, in that sort of, in that limited small mind that, humans, we are the only beings, and, not to offend all the religious groups, etc., etc. So I feel that that probably is still a little bit towards the latter end of this time frame. But in my understanding and what I've been shown, yes, it's going to be undeniable. And that's the idea. At some point, there has to be this, it's a seeding. They call it that. That is going to be the new seed for the, the Homo galacticus, the galactic human. Yeah, that point needs to come. And so that the way that they are going to facilitate that or materialize, manifest it, it's through this very, precise seeding. There has to be an energetic, spiritual seeding of that. It's a new energy, a new overlay that's going, to be happening, appearing on our planet in our, collective reality. So yes, it needs to be undeniable for the whole world, for everyone to see. Yeah.
Will they bring new technologies, new ways of healing that will utterly change how we live?
Yes, but there is a big caveat with that again.
Okay.
I'm really going out here. Huh? So, okay.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
fascinating.
So you could say that actually all technology that exists now, medical or in warfare or industrial, this all came in essence from off-planet species. So there has been consistent connection and exchange between humanity, certain factions of humanity, and different ET factions, with some of these beings that are already here that I mentioned before. So a lot of the, let's say, the military technology, yeah, that's unmistakably off planet. That's from different ET factions that already have very advanced technology. So that's been an exchange. Yes.
So the government knows that there's.
Oh, yeah, of course they know. All the big countries, America, Great Britain, France, Russia, China, maybe Japan, India, maybe now. But the first five, of course, they've been in cohorts with the different, ET factions since 1920, 1930, just a little bit before the Second World War of the last century. Oh, yes. Oh,
Why
yeah.
so much secrecy?
Yeah. That's the $1 million question. And that is because there is a certain agenda, on Earth where they really want to keep us as a kind of workforce. In a way, Earth has been called many times a prison planet, where we are kept very unawakened, very weak, not understanding, the full magnitude of who we are, because there is this agenda. There is, that there are certain factions that benefit from this particular deal, is the best way I can put it. Yes. So, yeah, here you have it. Mhm.
So this is about to change by 2028. How
It's
will,
unraveling already. So 2012 was the big node point, the nexus point, where everything started to ripple sort of in a different direction. Yeah. And it's accelerating.
but this has to totally change humanity's viewpoint. Do
Mhm.
you see some of the results of how that will affect us?
Yes, because so we've also spoken about this new earth. And again, my belated beloved mentor, Dolores Cannon, sort of coined that term, the new earth, that was going to be. So since 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar and all sorts of other astrological things, there is this noticeable shift. We finalized one cycle and started a new one. Yeah. And so in this new unfolding, what that actually means is that we really entered a new frequency. Yeah, we're really in a new cycle, new energy. That's why so many people are awakening. They are understanding, they're more than a body. They are understanding that there are big things happening. And they also, many people, they understand that there is a return to the heart, that the heart is the portal through which all of this is going to unravel. Yeah, the heart is our main portal. These new frequencies are activating all this heart energy. So we are expanding on the green ray. The color of the heart chakra is green. So we're really being washed, in this wave after wave after wave of this green ray energy, which is, the templates of compassion, of love, of unconditional love. Yeah. And so what you see is this ripple effect that the collective is, whether they are so aware of it or not, we are all changing. We are all, transmuting. We're going from these old, very carbon based bodies and, let's say, energy systems. We're going to this much subtler, crystalline silicon, based structures. And we are all experiencing that in our own subtle ways, and some more than others. So that is the collective wave. And you're feeling that because, that's why you're so passionate about what you're doing. And that's why you're doing it now, because the time is now. Yeah. There is a revolution of heart consciousness. Yeah. That I am not just me. It is seeing the I in the other. Yeah. That you are me. Yeah, that really we are one and the same. So there is this opening, this expanding into this notion, this concept, this awareness of true oneness. There's a redressing imbalance, equal masculine, equal feminine, but coming together in the sacred union, not one more than the other, not one dominant. Yeah, but in a sacred union, there is a harmonizing. Harmony is a quality of oneness. So everything is part of that big wave that is now affecting our earth. Yeah. So we are not only, let's say, energetically, but also as a planet and a solar system, we're moving through space. Nothing is static. Nothing is ever in one place. So since 2012, we entered a new part of space where we are being bombarded with these new plasmic waves. We have so many solar storms. They're affecting us on a very, very deep level. Look at the Schumann resonance. Follow it. I follow people online that, that post this, how it spikes. And we form an intrinsic part of that. We are not separate from that. We are that change. We are that. That's the beauty of this.
So this is something that could really then bring mankind together.
Yes, this unification is going to happen, because to have enough leverage to really be able to maintain the frequency of the new earth, which is a fifth dimensional frequency, which again, as I explained before, is not a different place. The new earth, we're not going to a new planet, or we're not, like going to something new as in a destination. We're transmuting, into something that is subtler than what we are now, so that we can, stabilize in that higher frequency. And that is what we call the new earth. That is going to happen for humanity as a collective, as one body. Yeah. So yes. And then there is the event, the flesh, the solar flesh, the big light, this big event that is coming. And there are many, many, many channelers and mediums, and we're all talking about that same thing. And that's also meant to happen in our lifetime. So this is all the preparation, that there's going to be an instant transformation, a divine alchemy. And that's going to instantly shift every being, not only humans, but also all animal life, all beings on earth, are then going to shift into that sheen, into that higher vibrational energy, higher vibrational earth. That's also going to happen.
You said in our lifetime. Is that soon? Do you get the impression, or could it be 20, 30 years from now?
So it's very difficult to put, again, when you channel, any medium will understand what I'm saying. And, I'm sure you can understand. So when we go into this, into our inner self, when I open myself to fully channel, to be this divine vessel for divine energies and guidance to come through me, there is no time. So when I ask my divine self, so when is this oneness event going to happen? They sort of giggle and they say, well, it's going to happen in your lifetime, but we can't really put a timeline on it. And sometimes I felt that it was going to happen in a certain year. But what I feel with that is that my channel is sort of, it's affected by my wish for it to happen. Do you understand?
Absolutely.
That in that moment, there's too much wishful thinking on my part. So then I say, okay, I have to just surrender and trust that is why I'm here. I know that's why I'm here, and that this is all in divine unfolding, and that it may make no sense to my human brain, to any kind of logic. But I trust, that it will happen in the moment and in the way that that spirit or divine, has prepared it. And that's it. And all I know is that it will happen in our lifetime. So, yeah.
You talk about the wishful thinking, and I do think that there are many of us that are excited to consider some sort of a major contact. So did you get any kind of a sense of more specifics? Like, did you visualize what it's going to look like?
It's not so much that I visualize, it's more that I receive insight, or let's say, my guides, my divine guide shows me things when it is appropriate.
Yes.
It's really funny because sometimes because it's always because they are everything. They're not singular. So they will say, okay, it's not so relevant now. you need to focus. First, this is going to happen, and you need to focus on that. And, sort of when the time is ripe, we will speak to this. That's, so, and then when I do receive insights and sort of more of visuals, yes, it is very much in alignment with what I said. I see that it's a large group of people somewhere, and there's going to be a large craft, and there's going to be some kind of interaction. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it several times. Yeah.
Will there be videos circulating on what these people saw?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it looks like that. It's going to say, like people say, there's irrefutable sort of proof, this really happened. Look, and this is not AI, or this is not, and like I said, it's a seeding. It's necessary for that event. And, the energetic imprinting of that to be properly anchored within the earth grids. Yeah. So that will form the sort of, let's say, the jump off point. So when that gets anchored properly, when that ripples through the collective consciousness and with the earth grids, then, it's like we gain more bandwidth. Then it's like, okay, now the bigger events can come, because we're not going to go in some mass psychosis. There is less fear. There is more understanding, all of that. It's very subtle how that all sort of, anyway.
There are people listening that think this is crazy, but I always think it's crazy to think otherwise, because when you look at the vastness of the universe and the amount of stars and, the billions of stars and the planets, and, I believe there are billions of stars just in our galaxy, let alone all the other galaxies. So to me, it seems obvious that there's other countless lives, beings, planets that are inhabiting some sort of life force. And so I just think it's really exciting and fascinating to consider that, and then to be able to actually communicate or touch base with them is to me very exciting.
Thank you. Yes, I could add to that we don't actually need to wait for that to happen in our shared reality, because you can go within. You can, I can guide people into a state of trance, a state of altered consciousness, where we go, through your subconscious, and where we talk with your higher self, and you can view your other lives. You can witness, you can observe your other experiences. And in those journeys, in these soul journeys, there's many, many times interactions with, what we would call ETs or aliens, or, you don't have to wait. It's right here at your fingertips. There are many ways, and it's really not very complicated.
Many of us are skeptical simply because we've tried to meditate. It's hard to clear our minds. So the idea that we could go in a trance, even with your help, is something hard for some of us to imagine as possible.
Yes, and I understand that. And, of course, people, when they inquire about sessions, they, that's the number one question. Can I be hypnotized? Can I go into a trance? And I have fear. And I understand that, of course. I had a little bit of that myself when I first started with quantum regressions and quantum healing. But the thing is, understand that you go in and out of trance, you go in and out of different brain wave states all throughout your day. You're in hypnotic state, yeah, which is theta brainwave, and then we have light theta and deep theta, and then we go into sleep, which is delta. We oscillate, between these different brain wave states all day long, every day. So it is not It's not foreign to you, and the brain recognizes this. The most important thing is to relax enough, to say, okay, I'm open to this experience. I'm going to trust this experience. I'm going to trust the guidance of this person that I have entrusted, my faith with, my experience with. I think that's more important than anything else. And also try to not have too many expectations. Something will always happen, you know. It might not be exactly how you imagine it to be, but that's also so exciting. And every soul journey is very different. So hypnotic states, altered state of consciousness, are innate to every human. And we go in and out of them, every single day, and also then in your dream state.
Do you find that most people walk away from going through a session with you and they feel satisfied that they've achieved something?
Oh, yeah. Because learning, when you gain insights in your wider experience, when you understand, when you go outside that box, like, oh, I am Heather Tesch, I am a woman, I have blonde hair, I live in America, I have a cat, this is my life, this is who I am. And the moment that you enter, a quantum experience, none of that applies. The moment that you're in that experience, and the beauty is when you are guided to have that experience yourself, it's a first-hand experience. It's very different than going to a medium or an Akashic reader or, even a channeler to tell you, well, you had this life and you had that life and you've been with your husband before and, oh, you come from this star. That's just on a mental level. It's very different when you, Heather, have that expansive experience, this beautiful, like, wow, you go beyond the box immediately. That door of your consciousness is blown wide open, and that can never close again, So that stays with you, and the insights that you gain from the different life forms, and all the karmic lessons that you learned, they enrich your life on every level, every level.
It sounds really exciting. I may have to check that out. I know other people are going to want to as well. So just share how people can connect with you to find out more and to possibly book a session.
Thank you. I'd be more than willing to. So I have a website, alexandrakallos.com. I'm sure we can link it.
Yes.
That's my main website. Alexandra Kallos on Facebook. I am on Instagram. I also have a YouTube channel called Inner Quantum with Alexandra. I connect with people through there. So it's really quite easy to connect with me. And you can always book a 20-minute free Zoom call if you don't really know. Many people, they're a little bit on the fence. They're like, maybe I want to do this with you, or I want to do that, because there's different type of sessions, different experiences. And so there's always a possibility to just, hop on a call, and then we can, decide what is the best experience for you. So very easy to connect with me. And I would love to connect, with you all and all of your viewers. It's really an amazing experience.
It sounds amazing. I'm excited about that. I love what you've shared about the potential for contact, and it's just really exciting to me. And again, it was just nice to have this little extra bonus session with you as we started this as an off-air conversation, and then it blossomed into something that we could share with other people. Thank you
Yeah,
so much, Alexandra. I have loved having this conversation.
it was a delight. It's wonderful. And I'm always so grateful, also to the technology and all the platforms these
Yes.
days that brings people, like us together. It's beautiful and it's the right time. So thank you for having me. Yeah.
You are so very welcome.
Blessings. You're welcome also. Ciao.
I am just buzzing. That was such a fun conversation, an unexpected one. We were just chatting after we had our initial interview and initial episode, and we just started talking about this. And the things that she was saying that she saw, I'm just like, oh my gosh, can I start recording? So that was so nice of Alexandra to let me record. I just find this topic really interesting. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I would love to know your thoughts. Couple of things. One is, have you ever had an experience that you think was kind of otherworldly? And then also, are you excited like me or not so much about the prospect of making contact? So please share your thoughts in the comments. I would love to hear what you're thinking. And if you could give it a like, that'd be great as well. And share this. If you know any other people that are interested in this topic, please do share that as well. I just really was delighted with everything I learned. And then, we talked at the end too about some of the things that she can help people with. And that really sounds interesting too. So if you'd like to connect with Alexandra, I will have her links in the description, and you can find her bio, that sort of thing there. You'll also find a link to all my past episodes, and I'll put a link there to our initial conversation that we had. That was also utterly fascinating. That, of course, was about her near-death experience, which was really mind-blowing. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I am so glad that you stuck around through this one. I just find it such a fascinating topic. Please come back for more. I've got more coming up. Make sure to look for me. Just come to my channel, Beyond with Heather Tesch, and you'll find more great episodes. I drop a new one every single week. You have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks for joining me on Beyond with Heather Tesch. Please add comments and questions you'd like future guests to answer. Also, if you liked what you heard, please hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. That'll help keep this podcast going. You can also go to Beyond with Heather Tesch to look for more episodes.